Craving the coffee flavor you love, but without the caffeine? Kachava's got you covered with their newest coffee flavor. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold, authentic flavor, crafted from premium decaffeinated Brazilian beans. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to Kachava.com and use code FITNESS. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code FITNESS.
In business, there's no room for guesswork. Every shipment matters. Every deadline counts. When you're trying to keep operations running smoothly, the last thing you need is uncertainty. That's why reliability is at the core of USPS Ground Advantage. From the moment your package is first scanned in, it moves through a secure nationwide network, aiding in a timely and accurate delivery. You get near real-time tracking so you can keep up with your shipments. And with affordable upfront pricing, there are no hidden fees or surprise surcharges to throw off your cost sheets. It all adds up to predictable deliveries you can depend on. Because knowing your logistics are handled lets you focus on everything else: your customers, your team, and the future you're building. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to start shipping with confidence. USPS, official shipping sponsor of the NHL.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort and Casino is the spot. A busy 3-hour program lined up today. A lot from last night's action to tie into tonight, and Game 3's upcoming this week. Today's Major League Baseball card. Some serious steam in the last hour or so with these NFL draft props. Mike Detillier on the program in 30 minutes. He has covered the draft for many years and the Saints. We'll get his take on that 8th pick overall. Ryan Kramer, Sports Gambling Podcast, host here on VSiN as well. His thoughts with NFL draft props, and Derek Stevens on the program coming up a little bit later on. We will tell you of that steam happening right now in a few minutes, but how good was last night overall? I mean, that's when you combine, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday, can they find a way to come to a handshake agreement and, I don't know, somehow play NBA games one night, then NHL the next? But with, YouTube TV and multi-view action that's now possible, last night was pretty much as good as it gets for the first round. All that drama, all the comebacks, all the close games. In terms of just being a sports fan, it was great last night.
Yeah, double overtime game. That cashes 3 games going on at the same time with hockey. The finish with Edmonton and the Knicks with a choke job. And that one's we're gonna have a long series here. And that's just a terrible loss by the Knicks, who blow a 12-point lead in the fourth quarter. That is inexcusable.
And they had a 14-point lead overall in the game. How does that happen now, back-to-back games where you get out to what is seemingly an insurmountable lead, but it's the NBA, so teams come back all the time. You allowed the Hawks to go on an 11-0 run to make it interesting in Game 1. You're in almost the same exact spot last night, and this time they hit you with a run that you can't overcome. And I'll tip my cap to C.J. McCollum, and I watched that fourth quarter over again. The degree of difficulty on a lot of his shots, where he comes running down on that one shot. It may have been to take the lead, and he's kind of fading away in the left corner from, 19 feet. That's like a 9.2 out of 10. And he just drills it, and the guy couldn't miss until he goes to the free throw line.
Yep.
And then he gives him a pulse anyway, and they couldn't win. And now, that was looking like the Knicks coasting to like a 5-game series, and I think you might be right now, because I'd be almost surprised if the Hawks don't take at least one game at home now.
Hawks are favored in Game 3. The other thing, I got to call out the fan base. After Game 1, we want Boston chance? Come on.
Well, they get a little goofy this time of year.
What are you doing? But it's just, Brunson struggled again shooting. They went after him time and time again, and McCollum torched him on defense. They didn't make an adjustment there. But it's also, you got to point the finger at the offense. To be almost done with the fourth quarter, and they had 9 points in the quarter.
That's right.
That they fell asleep offensively. So Cat dominated again. Hart had most rebounds in the game again.
Which was 7-1.
How about that? That's right. That comes in. But it's just, and the other thing is it's just a terrible trade now. When you evaluate at halftime, not to mention it prevented them from getting freak, is you can't count on Bridges. Gave up all those picks, that huge sequence with 7 minutes left, they're up 9. He's wide open from 3, misses. They get the rebound, they kick it right back out to him. He's wide open from 3, he misses that. They could go up 12 with 6-7 minutes, the game's over. Kuminga comes down and gets the N1. And all of a sudden, we got a 6-point game, and then they couldn't score, and Kuminga was finally good off the bench with 19. And then he misses the game winner.
Right.
Which, why don't you have timeouts? And he's still got a good look, but he misses it. So can't get Bridges to make a big shot. Terrible what happened offensively. 18-1 in play. And we'll see what they're made of. They were supposed to be up 2-0, and now they got a war on their hands.
Goes back to my rant from last week about how I would actually love Oklahoma City to get the number 1 overall pick in the draft now that they have the Clippers pick, because some way, like in my brain, that's going to prevent these teams from doing ridiculous trades like the Clippers did with Oklahoma City many years ago. Like that's Exhibit A. Like how many people off the street would give up 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, right?
Yeah, I know.
But a GM and a team, by the way, in the number 1 market in the country, actually did it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's when it was kooky time, though.
Yeah, I know.
The Gobert trade, that trade, that's when teams were handing out draft picks like...
Well, Bane just happened last year.
Bane, yeah, right. And now finally it's like, okay, wait a second, we can't do this. This doesn't make sense.
This is going to be hilarious.
Be a superstar.
You watch what happens, because Bridges is going to get 4 first-round picks. Bane got 4 first-round picks, and the Bucks are going to have to sell Giannis for pennies on the dollar.
Probably.
How about that?
Probably, my friend. Yeah, I told you. Denver doesn't play defense. What do you think, tough guy? Where you at?
Well, I like the Wolves in the series to give him a good one anyway.
I know. Von Tobel's president of the Nuggets fan club.
Certainly.
They do not defend. And our buddy Chad Andrus called it when he was in studio. It's not if, it's when Gordon gets hurt. And he doesn't seem even anything close to 100%. And he gave them nothing yesterday. And the 19-point lead goes bye-bye, and they lose the game.
Now, here would be my biggest concern from last night in the takeaway. It's not that the T-Wolves came back from a 19-point deficit to win. Clearly, these teams play close games. They know each other really well. The T-Wolves got him a couple years ago to go to the Western Conference Finals. It's that Joker looked absolutely out of gas in that fourth quarter. Yeah. And he was struggling almost the way he looked to get up and down the court.
3-point shot's a big problem.
But the shots were way short last night late.
Yeah.
And so maybe that was only a one-off and it's not going to be a thing for the series, but that was absolutely a little alarming. And the Timberwolves, again, they got 7-8 guys, despite not being the team that they were over the previous 2 years, like I think with overall depth. They still got a lot of guys that can get you. And they had 6 guys in double figures last night. And Ant looked fine to me. And he goes for 30 points last night.
Sure.
So
needed that.
This to me had 6 games written all over it, at least, maybe 7. And I don't know, maybe the Wolves actually beat them, which I think the adjusted series price is crazy.
Yeah.
The first number that I saw was Denver still minus 240.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yep. I can see that.
Game 1 was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. That's fair.
I think it's way closer than the betting market is telling us right now.
Yep.
So now, and then, by the way, Game 3, Denver's favored? 1.5 or 2 earlier today at Minnesota.
The power rating sky high.
That total is 234, goes over late last night because of it. And they were on a massive winning streak before this. You got some time to think about what you want to do in Game 3 overall. I will say this, that for teams that are down 2-0, going back home and playing in a Game 3. Now, this is going to be the situation in the other game from last night. Toronto fell down 2-0 against Cleveland. If you go back from 2012 to 2020, teams that were in this spot, they were not great. In fact, they were below 500 at covering games or winning them outright, full game. First half, 24-12 ATS. It completely flipped around 2021, the year after the pandemic, and books got onto this. First half ATS teams in this situation, 7-10.
That was the first couple of years we were at VEASAN. And it was Jeff Sherman pointed it out, and it went like 36-2 one year. First quarter
and first half.
It was ridiculous how easy it was. But it's changed and it's flipped. And it's hard to get to the window with Toronto after what you've watched the first 2 games. How well Mitchell's played, how they've locked down Ingram.
Well, Ingram looked terrible again last night.
Yes, he did. Yep.
He got his shots. He got a bunch of them up. But they were not going in last night, and his body language was not exactly popping with joy during that game.
Can the Flyers go to the Stanley Cup?
So I thought about it last night when they were winning 2-0, and it looked like they were going to, absolutely win the game. It was late, like third period. They were still 11-1 to win the East. And I had it in queue. I did not pull the trigger. I think 11-1s are now gone.
15-4-1 run. 12-1 last 13 when they score first. Shut out Pittsburgh in a game they have to have. Return home. Place is going to be a raucous and up for grabs. Getting great goaltending and how well they played just to get in the playoffs. That is the definition of a hot team. And I think Ottawa's got to. Maybe Ottawa can keep it close against Carolina. Who knows if they pull an upset and come back? But you look around and Tampa struggling. They might not get out of this. Maybe this thing's wide open.
Could be.
And maybe the Flyers can do this after how well they're playing. They're getting the solid goaltending, and you got the team playing that peaking at the right time.
Casanova, Chris Massero has a huge ticket on the Phillies to win the East,
Flyers?
I believe.
When?
It wasn't that long ago. It was
Can you imagine that
March.
ticket? You imagine that ticket, the number that was available when they were 14 points back in the playoffs?
I think he has 500-1. That might be to win the cup.
I believe it.
Yeah, but he'll win. He'll clear 6 figures to them if they take it down.
Wow.
So, look, Rich in Canada, longtime friend of the show who emails all the time.
Yep.
He pointed out again, like he's the person who was sending in all these cross-sport parlays over, previous weeks or months in the NHL saying, the guys, it's Montreal, and they're completely disrespected. And he sent another email in last night that said, I'm telling you right now, the teams that are talked about as the best teams in the East, the order is out of whack.
What's his order?
Well, he said Montreal's coming out of the East.
I've been saying that all year.
And then
right.
I responded by saying, I think Philadelphia is a potential fly in the ointment. He agreed with that.
Okay.
But he doesn't agree with Tampa Bay being as high as they are, Carolina, and he said the other one was Ottawa, and that was before Ottawa played their game last night, dropped down 0-2.
I can see Carolina. I can see that they're overhyped. But Montreal loses tonight.
I think so.
Call my shot again. Tampa in regulation, $1.15. Cooper calls them out, losing overtime,
right.
Season on the line, all that jazz.
Now, that's interesting because Caulfield is 65-1 to win the Conn Smythe. Now, you have to have a Canadian team win the Cup this year. But if that team does come out of the East, that's a pretty healthy ticket to have in pocket.
Or the guy who had the kid who had the Patrick.
Another one.
Another one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know. Maybe it comes down to one of those two teams. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, I think it's wide open. I mean, Colorado 2-1 in game one.
Yeah.
Edmonton almost lost. Vegas was losing in the third period.
I know.
Edmonton's losing in the third period. Carolina's got to go double overtime. They shouldn't have won game one. Both goals were soft. Anderson was incredible. They made some great saves last night, too. So did Olmark. But this thing, that thing's wide open, I believe.
Sure. Just from an outside perspective, looking at the games, I think it would be fascinating for Montreal or a team like Philadelphia to get there. I think it'd be great.
Oh, I think it's definitely real.
Tampa Bay's been there 1,000 times. Carolina, they've had countless chances.
That's right.
Ottawa would be great, too, quite honestly.
Yes.
So we're going to spin it forward to tonight's action. 2 out of the 3 games on the board fit an angle that is 71% over the last decade plus. I'll tell you about that coming up next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
Craving the coffee flavor you love, but without the caffeine? Kachava's got you covered with their newest coffee flavor. This all-in-one nutrition shake delivers bold, authentic flavor, crafted from premium decaffeinated Brazilian beans. With 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, and so much more. Treat yourself to the flavor and nutrition your body craves. Go to Kachava.com and use code FITNESS. New customers get 15% off their first order. That's KACHAVA.com, code FITNESS.
This year, experience the NHL playoffs your way. Want to watch a single, do or die Game 7, a full week of heavy-hitting back-and-forth series? Then check out Sling's 1, 3, and 7-day passes. Watch the Chase for the Cup on ESPN and TNT, starting as low as $4.99. No long-term contracts or overpaying. Just live hockey at home or when you want it. Sling lets you do that. Visit sling.com to learn more.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
NFL draft time. Huge fan of our first guest today on the program. He's been coming on with us several times throughout the entire year now for many years, and he is dynamite. He's been with WWL in New Orleans for a long time, draft analyst there as well, saintsreport.com. Mike Detillier joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Mike, good afternoon. Thanks for the time today. How are you?
Thanks a lot, guys. I'm doing good. Not my first clam bake, so I'm ready.
Oh, there you go. All right. I that would be awesome to have. I would love to try that sometime. Let's begin. So we're going to get to the number 8 pick overall with the Saints, what do you think might happen there? But let's begin with this team that we have now looked at and watched in front of our own eyes for the number 2 pick overall in the draft, like for the last week or so. Earlier this morning, Arvell Reese was a $4 favorite to go number 2 overall. As we speak, that has completely flipped, and David Bailey is now minus 175 at DraftKings, and he keeps climbing. What are your thoughts overall on what's going on in that market and who ultimately goes second overall?
I've always been a guy, I told you guys this back in January, Arvell Reese is my highest rated defensive player, and that's where I'd go. But again, because of the Jets picking where they're picking, they haven't been the most clever team in the NFL when it comes to drafting. I understand the David Bailey situation. He's 4th for me overall and my 3rd ranked defensive player. He's more ready, say for prime time as a pass rusher. He reminds me a lot of Pat Swilling. I saw Pat play a lot. I saw him play at Georgia Tech. And then when he came here with the Saints and then with Detroit and with the Raiders, he reminds me a lot of Pat in a lot of ways. Arvell has never really been used as a pass rusher. He's really been an off-ball linebacker. Occasionally they would send him off the edge. But, man, he's something else. I got told by an Ohio State assistant coach in the summer, wait till you see Reese. And so, I said it a few times here on some of our pregame shows for LSU, and they were like, yeah, I never heard of Arvell Reese. I never got another call or text about it after the first game. So, I get where the line is going. For me, it would be an easy pick here, and I would go with Reese. And as we were talking off the air, he's a couple years younger. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is this team ready to contend? No. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn because they're setting him up. He's not going to be there next year.
Okay, excellent. A lot of GMs said expect fireworks. Are we going to see a lot of trades? And what's the range where the trades happen? Because as you pointed out many times, it's expensive to move into the top 3 or 4.
Yeah, Arizona would be the one team that I think would like to move out of there. But I don't see a lot of trades from certainly 2 through 5. I think after that, that's when you'll see some movement. Teams falling in love with a player, you can say, no, that shouldn't happen, but it does. You fall in love with one guy, and that you have to have, and you're willing to give up some capital to do it. I do think there'll be a lot of trades. What intrigues me is once you get to that 12 mark, and you may have a couple offensive linemen off the board, but that seems to be a hot area. And I think you will see, I have 8 offensive linemen going in round 1 and came real close to putting a 9th. Ooh. I think that's the area teams will try to signal out, is to get a certain offensive lineman that they really like. So I think the trades will be later on than, say, early. And I think the only team that would move out of that top 5, the way I look at it, would be Arizona.
Okay. You really are high on Love. What do you think about taking a running back in today's NFL top 4, top 5?
I have no problems with it. He's a special player because people say, well, he's a running back. No, he's also a terrific receiver coming out of the backfield. And we're fortunate. We have Drew Brees do a weekly show with us, and Drew always points out, can he pass protect? Okay. And you watch Notre Dame, he does a good job as a pass protector. So he's a sort of a combination to me of running style and power of Bijan Robinson and the elusiveness and the pass-catching skills of Reggie Bush. He's kind of a hybrid of both those guys, and so I would have no issue with it. He could go as high as 3. I don't think he gets past 6. And he's going to be an instant impact player the team that drafts him.
Okay. The most likely landing spot for him, though, would be where? You think Florida, Tennessee? That's been like the most common mock spot for him.
Yeah, man, Tennessee. Okay, you just need players. And I try to say this all the time. If you start picking for a specific need and pass a board that you have set up for months and spend, hundreds of thousands to $1 million with, and you're going to just pick a player of a huge need over the better player. I know they have Pollard, and I think he's a good football player. He's not Jeremiah Love, and he instantly helps your quarterback in Cam Ward. You need some weapons around him. And again, not only as a runner, but his ability to catch the ball coming out of the backfield, I think, is outstanding.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Mike Detillier, WWL in New Orleans, draft analyst there as well, and he is on the Progressive guest line. I'm looking right now at the odds to go 8th overall to the Saints, and 2 wide receivers are the short shots on the board. Jordan Tyson, 2-1, Carnell Tate, 4-1, then it drops off with different players after that. If they're picking 8th overall and any of these players are available, which guy are they absolutely not going to pass on?
And it came down to me for 2 players. Carnell Tate, the wide receiver from Ohio State. The Saints have leaned heavily toward Ohio State players in the past. They already have a Ohio State wide receiver, Chris Olave, and Carnell Tate's different than any other receiver on this football team today. But the guy I picked does not play receiver, and that's Mansour Delane, the cornerback from LSU. The Saints lost Alontae Taylor in the free agency part of the game, and Alontae got paid a lot of money to go to Tennessee. In Brandon Staley's defense, he has numerous times talked about having a guy that can play out on the edge, could play in the slot. And, he came up with that line, okay, you got a $40 million receiver getting covered by a $2 million third corner. You're not going to win a lot of that. Okay, the Saints came into existence in 1967. You know how many LSU players they picked in round 1?
Oh,
0.
Oh, no way.
Never. Look at that train of players that have come out of Baton Rouge, and LSU has not been a first round. They have not picked a player from LSU in round 1. Mo Buddy Dalton Hilliard was the early selection. I think he went 31 back in 1986, but they didn't have 32 teams in the NFL back then. Dalton turned out to be a good pick, but I think Delane would be, to me, a guy that would be very difficult to pass on, especially if Carnell Tate is off the board.
Which is certainly possible. His draft position is 7.5. I'm looking at plus 425 on Delane to go 8th overall. Now, do the Saints stay at number 8, though? Do they want to move up or move down?
Man, tell me the last time the Saints have moved down in a draft. Since Mickey Loomis has been here, they really have not. They've been a team that has really been more looked at as a team to move up than to move back. So I think as far as moving back, I'd be shocked. I know in my lifetime I'll see it happen, but I'm still waiting on that. So I think they stay at 8, and there's always going to be a pick out of alignment that may throw you a player that you didn't think would be there, especially in the top 7 or 8. And I think they're either Carnell Tate or Mansour Delane would be the obvious choices for this team.
Okay. What do you think the Giants do at 5, by the way, now that they have 2 picks in the top 10?
And I would go with Caleb Downs at 5. I think he's the type of guy that could set the tone for you defensively. And then I try to pick me the best big man that's still there. If it's this Big Francis from Miami or Florida, I would certainly like that particular part of it, Alfano. And get me a big man that can protect Jackson Dart.
Yep.
You can't have him in the blue tent more than he's out on the field. You got to protect him. And so I would try to get me a trendsetter on defense, and that I think is Caleb Downs, and then get me an offensive lineman at 10.
Very good. Mike, you're the best. You can follow him on X at Mike Detillier, Detillier. WWL in New Orleans is the spot. Thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate that.
All right, guys. Y'all take care.
Be good. Enjoy the draft. He joined us on the Progressive Guest Line. Always love have Mike on the program. And for those of you just tuning in moments ago, he said that his pick at 8 to the Saints is Mansour Delane, cornerback from LSU. And that's an incredible trivia question. I knew it was either going to be a sky-high number or rock bottom. And 0? Okay.
Yeah. It's done.
Win-lose up next with some incredible details from last night's hockey results. Paulie's going to detail coming up on Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We're really going to dive into the NFL draft. Betting props here for the next half an hour. Ryan Kramer joins the program on the Progressive Guest Line, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast. The guys crank out a ton of episodes throughout the week, and you get their Friday night edition. Kramer! Friday nights, there you go. Friday nights right here on VSiN. What's up, pal? How are you today?
I'm doing good. Honor is all mine to be here again. Greatest graphic that the VSiN graphics team has ever created. Mm-hmm. As a Jersey kid and someone who grew up with Seinfeld, very honored to be merged with that Kramer. Oh my goodness!
You have to be right. Yeah.
Like the hair, strong.
Yeah, throw it out like that sometime, could you, please, for us?
Not in my adult life yet, but maybe.
Okay, so you're a big Giants guy. Now they are picking at number 5 and number 10 overall. And typical here, I've been beaten over the head with a shovel for the last 5 days about what they're going to do with the 5th pick. Mm-hmm. Every imaginable scenario has been thrown out there. The latest has been like, well, it's Sonny Styles, but now people are changing their mind on that. What do you think they actually do?
Everyone says it's Sonny Styles, and then those same people are like, you know what? It's totally not going to be Sonny Styles. You know, my hunch all along, and of course we have this late steam with Jordan Tyson potentially being the guy. I mean, I like Jordan Tyson to be the first receiver. Certainly, he could go 6, 7, 8, or 9 as well. And so I think if you like him, you got to take him there. Caleb Downs has always been the guy who it's like, yeah, they're definitely looking at him. I just think now maybe they think they can get him at 10. And so to directly answer your question, I strangely think it is going to be on the offensive side of the ball, and I think it's going to be Jordan Tyson or Francis Maui Noah. Maui Noah, I'll say the same thing I said to you guys before the segment started, but no one had Harbaugh's brother taken all out there in Chargers land. And what better way to solidify your line? I mean, look, the back stuff came out where some teams don't like the future of what his back holds, but as far as I can tell, the Giants potentially like him. I do think he's the best combo of could be a tackle, but also could start and play guard right away. And so I would say it's going to be an offensive player at 5, and then I think at 10 it's going to be Caleb Downs.
So you don't think Tyson will be there at 10?
You know, the more that what do we learn every year? That the NFL does value premium positions, pass rushers, wide receivers, cornerbacks, offensive linemen. And so I think wide receivers get pushed up every year. We all heard about the workout now. People feel good about Jordan Tyson. I mean, certainly if you go watch the way he blew out his knee in playing for Colorado, you might feel like, hey, this doesn't look like an injury prone guy. If you watched him break his collarbone, you might say that's not related to him getting his knee blown out in that Colorado game. So, I think teams seem to be fine with the injury checklist now. And so now you're back to just pure receiver. And we've heard the entire time, this was always the guy with the highest ceiling, right? Alpha, prototypical alpha guy, could also be a move guy, a little bit more explosion and crisp route running than a Carnell Tate, and certainly has the size over a Lemon. And so, I think certainly a 290 in pocket for Tyson to be the first receiver. You can still get plus 130. I like it. And I think because all of the teams after them could potentially be looking at a receiver because it is a hard position to get your hands on. That would be ultimately that would be my pick and probably my hope as a Giants fan. Although I'm not going to complain if they go offensive line.
Okay, so if you look at DraftKings, the fourth guy listed and taking steam is Love. This is where all hell can break loose, because I was told if Tennessee passes on him, the Giants are going to trade the fifth pick because someone's going to come up and take Love at 5, and there's going to be an insane price to get up and do so.
Which would be the dream. Again, I'm always a little skeptical of the trade down talks this time of year because we hear about it every year. It seems to not happen as much as you'd like to. And even last year, no one heard about the Jags and the Browns trade situation. Yep. So again, non-quarterback trade ups, they are kind of rare. They did happen last year. I think as a Giants fan and in talking to other Giants fans, Love being on the clock when the Giants draft could cause some serious heart problems across the country. Cause I don't need to hear that, but there's been enough smoke too, where I think the team is pushing out there that they, much like the Cardinals, that they like Love so that someone would trade up to come get him. And I'm with you. That does feel Love and potentially one of the pass rushers making it to the Giants seems like the dream scenario where there then are multiple avenues to teams that might want to trade up, and it might only be a couple picks. So it could just be a scenario where they still get Tyson, but only have to drop back a couple picks, say to 7 or 9.
I want to circle back to the thought of Love to the Cardinals in a minute, but as long as we're on the whole wide receiver thing here, and under this scenario, if Tyson's going to be the 5th pick overall, what does that mean for Tate? Because if I've been, this has been said over and over and over again, but if Styles then is on the board at number 7 to Washington, it's basically a lock. They're going to take Sonny Styles. That's a Dan Quinn pick. They're taking him. Tate was 2-1 to go over 7.5. That is now flipped. He's favored to go. Like, where does he land?
So yeah, my first thought would be, it almost seems like Sonny Styles and Jordan Love are tied at the hip, where one goes to the Titans and the other potentially falls to the Commanders. As far as Tate, we've heard that maybe the Browns like him. They've had him in for a top 30 visit. We've heard maybe the Commanders, who have another Ohio State wide receiver, might like him. We've heard that the Saints, who have another Ohio State wide receiver in Chris Olave, might like him. And so it seems like his interest, it could be any of those teams. And it does seem more and more like he's not going to slide out of the top 10 because, again, that premium position, you don't have the wide receivers showing up as free agents too often. So you got to get them when you can. And I think that's why the Chiefs is an interesting trade up piece as well, because how often are they in the top 10 to potentially get a receiver? I know you hear the offensive line smoke, but it does seem like the receiver could be the competitive position that everyone's going after in that back half of the top 10.
Yeah. And I'm officially calling this Love smoke 3rd overall to the Cardinals. I'm going to refer to that as skunky. I don't buy it at all.
Yes.
Honestly, I don't even buy the Titans stuff. When you hear it, and especially if you've been doing this long enough, you kind of have a database of which insiders know which coaches, and everyone knows about the McShay-Dable connection. And so when I hear and even the McShay-Saleh connection. So when I hear him talk with certainty that if Love is there, the Titans are going to take him, to me, I wonder if he knows he was lied to, or if he knows the information is bad. But to me, Arizona, Tennessee, and frankly, the Giants, none of those teams make sense. So, back to that idea of how can we fade Jeremiah Love? Maybe it's just taking the over here.
Very good.
Go against everybody right now.
Yes. Okay, so Tyson, first wide receiver. Mawanoa, first offensive lineman to go. How about if Sadiq can go to the Vikings? What price did you get, and how strong do you feel about this?
This one's 10-1. I believe 10-1 is still available. I know some places have moved Vikings to take tight end first down to plus 850. This is just purely as I started doing my mock draft. I'm not one of these mock draft savages. I do one a year. And as I've started to fill it out, I started finding it interesting to how many Sadiq's landing spots that I found not giving to Sadiq. And so when I got down to Minnesota, I know there's so many people suggesting that we're just going to, slot in the hitman's replacement in the Oregon safety. But you also look at and you listen to the way that they've talked. They want to add an offensive weapon. I don't think they would mind adding a wide receiver. And certainly if they have Sadiq I could see a coach like Kevin O'Connell thinking he might be the most athletic pass catcher in the draft. No different than people have thought about a guy like Kyle Pitts or even Colston Loveland. And so I certainly could see that fit right into the offensive scheme. And at 10-1, it's a fun price because I think Sadiq is a wild card. He certainly could slide past the Vikings too, as there aren't too many spots for him. So Sadiq to go to the Vikings at 10-1 is kind of a fun first round wild card.
Okay, let's take another team here then, where you're taking a couple of long shots with Houston, and a 13-1 at linebacker and 25-1 for them at tight end. Explain this one.
Yeah, so we know they draft at 28 and 38. So the idea that they get a tight end and it's Sadiq is probably less likely. So a little quick, comparison shopping. Sadiq to get drafted by the Texans is 28-1. Texans to take a tight end first is 25-1. That also gives you the opportunity if they trade back and pick up even more picks. And so, and then go with a second round option, which I think, while unlikely, I enjoyed the price because there have been multiple media availability sessions where Houston, whether it be front office or coach, have talked about the need to be explosive at the tight end position. The other side, linebacker, this is all about D'Amico Ryan seeing himself and Jacob Rodriguez, a guy who will be there at the 28 spot if they do decide to stick and pick. At 13-1, I certainly think defensive line conventional answer, but man, linebacker can help the run game too, and I think D'Amico Ryans respects linebackers as much as anyone.
Love it. More with Ryan Kramer coming up next. More of his best bets, and I want to get into 5.5 wide receivers in the first round and which running back's going to be the second one off the board.
This year, experience the NHL playoffs your way. Want to watch a single, do or die Game 7, a full week of heavy-hitting back-and-forth series? Then check out Sling's 1, 3, and 7-day passes. Watch the chase for the cup on ESPN and TNT, starting as low as $4.99. No long-term contracts or overpaying. Just live hockey at home or when you want it. Sling lets you do that. Visit sling.com to learn more.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Time now for our weekly chat with the owner and the CEO of Circa Las Vegas, along with the Golden Gate and the D. Derek Stevens joins the program now here in studio. Good to see you as always. How are you today?
All right, fellas. Good to see you.
We talked NFL draft prop betting with you last week, how you really do not want to even offer them. You don't like it personally, but you guys have had props up now for, 5 days, 6 days, something like that?
Bit.
Okay. How's it going so far?
Yeah, it's all right.
You're not really seeing that much excitement for it?
Fortunately, we haven't seen that much action. So it hasn't been nothing I'm sweating right now, I can tell you that.
Okay. I will give you an example why you probably don't like to book the draft is because the number on Arvell Reese to go number 2 overall, you have a draft position prop on him at over 2.5. The under was a $4 favorite. I think this morning or yesterday, he's now favored as high as like minus 175 to go over 2.5. Exhibit A, why you don't like to book it?
Terrible. It's just terrible.
They're doing a good job, though, of keeping the information. In years past.
Somebody knows the answer.
Well, we'll see, but maybe.
We don't, but.
Yeah. But in the past, this has been cat's been out of the bag early and often.
Yeah.
And remember they had to cut down and tell Schefter, quit reporting stuff early.
Yeah.
You had that issue too.
Yeah, so I've listened to a lot of podcasts over the last few days, and Paulie's right. People who do this for like a living have said this is the most difficult year that they can ever remember.
Well, okay. Good.
Well, that helps.
That'll help. It
you.
helps, I guess. I mean, again, no aspiration. And I have to stand corrected. I said this to you last week. I said, well, God, we haven't won. And then I think Matt Euman sent me a text to a couple other people. I had to verify, and I sent you guys a text. Mm-hmm. We did win a couple times, I think twice ever on the draft, but it was very, very modest. We've gotten smoked a few times, but we did win a couple of years, like in the hundreds or something like that.
Okay. Do you guys have any big liability to some of these teams that are suddenly live in the NHL. One team would be like the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
This is real. That bracket could open up. They're up 2-0 on Pittsburgh. They're hot.
So when we looked at where we stood on the conference and on the cup, we have only 4 teams out of the 16 where the house wins both to the conference and the cup. It's the Lightning and the Hurricanes. So we got favorites in the East. And then in the West, we got Golden Knights and Avalanche, where we win to the conference and the cup. That all the other teams, we lose on one of those or both. Specifically, when you take a look at the Flyers, we lose 90,000 on the Flyers in the conference. So, they're right there.
We got to find out how big they were when they were struggling and weight, because this might be a St. Louis Blues type 2 thing.
I'm looking right now.
400, 500 to 1. How far back they could be, because they were 14 points back at Detroit, and now it looks like they're close to the second round. This incredible run.
Here's one ticket, 500 to 1 to win the cup.
There it is. St. Louis again. Same price.
500 to 1 to win the cup?
To win the cup, yeah.
That's posted online, or did somebody just text that to you?
That's from our buddy Chris Massaro.
Okay.
That was not here, but I think he also has a ticket with you guys as well, either to win the conference or to win the cup. Okay. And he has huge tickets on the Bruins as well, just to win the East. Now, I'm not sure where that's at. Would that be here? Do you guys lose you said the Bruins?
We
or no?
lose to the Bruins Cup and Conference.
Cup and Conference, yeah.
I would bet Chris Massero's probably got us on the Cup side. I'm sorry, on the Conference side, not the Cup side, because we have a big variance on the Flyers, Cup to Conference.
Okay,
interesting.
And he's a sharp better, so he's always betting the right number. So
he knows when to jump in.
What?
He knows when to jump in.
Yeah, I would bet he's got a Cup ticket. He has a Conference ticket at Circus Sports. Would be my bet. Looking at the overall here.
Okay.
Are you going to the game tonight?
No, I got to catch a flight to Toronto.
You're out. All right.
I went to game 1. It was an incredible game. It was one of the best playoff games that I could recollect.
No way.
They were flying. They were flying out here. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to be able to get to watch it, but there could be a little natural. This could be the start of a natural rivalry. Vegas and Utah. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Do you think Vegas is suddenly like live to go on a big run here with the coaching change?
What are they? Last 9 games, 8-0-1.
Uh-huh.
No one in Vegas could believe they fired Cassidy. But how can anyone question now what McCrimmon and McPhee did? It's really amazing. It's like a whole new team.
Don't give up any goals either.
Jumping
That's
around.
Another thing, yes.
Carter Hart's the starting.
He's been great.
Think about this. When they won the Cup, they made the flip over to Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
And now they're making the flip to Carter Hart. I don't think any team wants to play the Golden Knights right now.
Yeah, well, Edmonton almost lost, so suddenly maybe the bracket opens up for them too, but they got a big one tonight, and they come from behind win in the third period. You have led the way for years. It's a tragedy in America, travesty in America, active content management. You have to be on your toes for the NBA. We started with the first 9 games on Amazon, and then we switch over to NBC and Peacock, and then you got ESPN with some of the games as well. With all 3 games, NBC, Peacock, is there a delay? How was that worked out? What do you think of the Peacock issues?
It was unbelievable last night. When I texted you, I go, I texted our guys, what is going on in this latency? Peacock was horrible last night, I thought. There was points in time, it was like 56 seconds. 54 seconds behind real time. I've never seen a delay that bad. Did you guys know? Were you guys betting this game? Were you betting it live last night?
I'm used to it.
I'm so used to it, yeah.
I think college basketball is the worst.
You might be 3 possessions behind.
Yes.
Oh, my God. It was unbelievable. I was on – and in a game when you had a team down by – how much were they down by? 18?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden come back and blow? That latency was a killer. I just couldn't believe the picture quality was good, but it was like I was watching a rerun. It was so old. I mean, the data. I don't know how you bet it live.
That's a good point with the Atlanta game, right? By the time you think, the Knicks are in trouble, if you're 3 possessions behind, suddenly you're taking the worst of it.
No kidding.
I'm getting fuzzy with Amazon. It's going fuzzy on me a lot. You?
Really?
I'm having issues on Amazon.
Yeah, so am I.
Yes.
I thought I had a problem. I didn't know that.
The picture goes fuzzy a lot.
And then on top of that, the first game, when it was technical difficulties, the entire country was losing their minds.
Right.
In a huge spot in the game.
It was the ball turnover.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I heard about that. I wasn't watching that game, but I heard that. I don't know. God, if somebody can only bundle all this stuff together for us.
No kidding.
It would,
but this is
we used to
wild,
complain about how expensive it was. It was a lot less expensive than this is now.
Hey, you're right.
You need Peacock. You need Amazon. You got to have the regular. Right. I mean, you got Amazon will be Thursday, Friday. Peacock and NBC are Monday, Tuesday. ESPN is like Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. ABC.
Sports is a young man's watching sport. I mean, I feel bad. My parents call me all the time. They don't know what to do. They're pulling their hair out.
I know. How did this come about? Where we saw this all over social media with the Goodyear blimp that was in town.
I love the blimp. I love the blimps ever since as a kid.
Yeah.
I asked Santa Claus for a little blimp when I was a kid, and I got it. I love that little blimp. So I went out to North Las Vegas Airport last year when I heard the blimp was housed over there, and I got in and I got to meet a guy that was watching over it, and we get our names together. One thing led to the next, and we became the host hotel for them this year. You know, they have 3 Goodyear blimps in the country. This is Wingfoot 3.
Oh, really?
And this particular blimp, it's a 20-person crew, around the clock, and they all stayed here for a week. They were out here for WrestleMania. It was pretty cool, and I said, any chance you could put our name in on a wait list for a ride? And they said, yeah. We got 2 of our groups out for a ride. First time I ever got in it. First time I ever rode in it. Airship was pretty cool.
It's a 20-person crew.
Yeah, there's a total of 13 pilots around the country.
Okay.
Between the 3 blimps, there's 70-person crew to run these 3. There's 20 of them here just to run this one.
Wow. Okay.
But remember, the thing's up in the air all the time.
The whole time.
And when it's on the ground. There's still a pilot in it. The thing, it never turns off.
Oh, it just keeps going the entire time.
And, it's on. So there's a pilot in it 24/7. So, you got maintenance and all that stuff.
How was Circa Mania? The place looked absolutely bonkers this past weekend.
Man, oh man, this WrestleMania was pretty good. Steakhouses did pretty good. It was Stadium Swim sold out each day for WrestleMania.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the photos that I saw were just like it looked like the Super Bowl.
It was. It really was. I mean, it was just. I'm not the biggest wrestling guy, so I mean, for entertainment, we couldn't book it. Obviously, it was unbelievable though. Mm-hmm. It was great weekend.
I was surprised ESPN covered it like they did, considering it's scripted and everything. And
right.
We got NBA, NHL. How do you feel about that?
I thought that too. With the thing out at Toshiba Plaza and the introductions, it's a scene.
Have a good week. Good to see you again.
You too.
In Pocket plays coming up here and Follow the Money. It's VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Catch the NBA playoffs on Sling TV, the most flexible live TV streaming service, putting consumers in control to watch games their way with flexible subscriptions. Want to catch one game or a full series on ESPN? Grab a 1, 3, or 7-day pass. If you want to catch as many games as possible, get a monthly subscription with our ABC, NBC, and ESPN combo package. Either way, Sling lets you watch the playoffs your way with no long-term contracts. Learn more at sling.com.